number 4 coming at you here. Stay Green versus Sync Esports. Here we are. Welcome back. I got a note right off the bat. You look at this already. Rhapsody, Sir Bensington, Pestilence Tundra. I was going to say, go figure. Ophelia picked up by Stay Green after Sync Esports, making a point that they did not want her first picked. They go Puppet Master. So we were just talking about this. It seems like there's been that, it's fact. There's been that trend this series, let alone in past, how just powerful this hero is. Sync's really trying to find a way to not have to ban or pick her, yet being able to deal with her. We'll see. Is Game 4 the game where it actually works out here? And Ophelia doesn't win. Beef, what do you think?
I don't know, Breaky. I think this is a really interesting decision from Sync.
Yeah.
I don't know. Puppet Master, we kind of saw it in the last game, or 2 games ago, that he simply does not have the greatest ability to deal with early pushing lineups. And Stay Green, they've already got the Ophelia. You know there's going to be at least some amount of pushing going out. They're following it up with Gauntlet, a beautiful initiator, and really, Smiddle considers him to be the best in his role. One of the reasons he's being picked up in the first 3 here rather than waiting for the next ones. And they grab a Slither. Mm-hmm. So one that's going to be able to occupy the role of either a support or a short lane farmer if necessary. One that's going to be able to consistently win. Probably going to be the support because the primary pushing support in Rhapsody and Torture are both already taken. So SG going to be getting back into a pretty comfortable position for a pushing lineup here in Game 4. I don't know if Sync's going to be able to deal with this.
Yeah. Again, there's already the problem here is that they got the Puppet Master. We talked about that in that game number 2. Now, yes, it was just a crazy old out push lineup from Stay Green that clearly just worked out. They won the lanes and it just developed from there. So Puppet Master, really just fell apart from there, too, with the rest of the team. He still has a decent farm. Anyways, point being, he's more about that solo. He's more about that picking out heroes and going just for them in those team fights rather than, dealing with huge team fight situations. So we're going to see once again if that's going to pay off to be. And again, you see with the bans that are going out here, the Warbeast, the Keeper, it makes sense. But is Sync, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see how this works out for them because – yeah, it seems like, again, Stay Green, they got their duo of Slither and Ophelia alone, throwing a Gauntlet on top of that. It's been working out so well for them here in this series. So this final ban, it's where do you go with the final ban here as far as maybe do you even ban the Zephyr here once again? I would be curious to see if that might be an option here from Sync Esports, but even if you ban Zephyr, there's still other options that Stay Green could go for if they want to really keep that push set in mind, or could just go different. That's the other thing too. We think Ophelia, we think you build a push lineup around her, and that's not even the case. She's just that good of a hero, as we were stating, just an old presence of the game. So that just happens to be maybe arguably her most strongest presence is that push, of course. They're using a lot of time, though. that is for certain. They're already down to 20 seconds almost before this final ban's going to be coming out here. So, what will it be? It's going to be the Madman, actually. They go the Madman route here with that final ban. So, now for Sync Esports, or excuse me, for Stay Green, they've already taken out Master of Arms and Kronos, actually. Want to take out some counter push, did some good team fight presence heroes, and more so comfort heroes in the end from Sync Esports here. I think maybe more than even the middle presence they're going to try to ban out here. Something like a Pebbles even, or take away that.
Yeah, you got to be thinking that if SG's focused a little bit on this push right here, you might want to be eliminating heroes that are going to be able to survive against Gauntlet, a Gauntlet dual lane in that mid, or heroes that are going to be able to have strong counter-pushing potential. The Bubbles definitely comes to mind right there. Master of Arms as well. Makes sense as the ban. The Kronos, of course, just a strong hero in general, so just not wanting to have to deal with that. But I like the Bubbles ban. It's now going to force Sync into a different position, maybe something like that Pharaoh in the Suicide mid position. And Pharaoh, he's going to have a lot more difficult of a time than something like a Kronos or a Bubbles in that middle role.
So Sync Esports, I mean, they have very similar lineup to what they had in the last game. It's right now the only difference is Puppet Master instead of Forsaken Archer. Again, I guess I do like that. I mean, again, we were making the points that it seems like they overcompensated for the amount of counter push they needed, and Puppet Master definitely stronger for those single targets and getting those pickoffs perhaps, and helping with those gank situations here. That's where Sync Esports is definitely has a strength of. But what was their what would have been the 5th pick then? What were they running? Wasn't it Bubbles actually? I think it was Bubbles. Yeah, it was Bubbles. So that can't happen, but. So at least that final pick is also going to be different. So, but now back to Stay Green. We're going to get some good answers here in terms of what direction they ultimately may be heading, of course. And again, they showed last game Slither can definitely be used as that support option if they need it to.
I think there could be a Kraken coming out in the very near future, but maybe not because they have a Gauntlet, and Swindle might not be comfortable playing the Gauntlet. Glacius. Okay, so this now indicates that Glacius is going to be going into the middle lane with Gauntlet rather than Slither, and I like this just because of Slither's short range. He's not considered to be the strongest dual mid support, instead allowing Slither to be played most likely by Chessie up in this top lane, meaning that Swindlemons will be taking the last hero here as a suicide most likely. As far as what heroes Swindlemons might be playing in that suicide role, I think that they have the Wretched Hag still available on board here. That could definitely be one. Grinix is also a high priority. Kraken being picked up by Sync, but it's Wild Soul. Okay, so Slither going to be being played by Swindle, and it'll be a Chessie Suicide Wild Soul.
See, but again, that gives them strong pushing presence, extra strong pushing presence. Obviously it's not a War Beast by any means, but it's been holy crap, man. It's been a long time since we've seen Wild Soul. I honestly can't remember the last time we've seen Wild Soul. It had to be earlier on in Season 2. This hero was actually...
Like 3 weeks ago, there was a Wild Soul in something. I can't... It might have been a scrim.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, obviously, it might have popped up once or twice here and there, but yeah, this is not a hero that we've seen a lot of in recent history, especially where it used to be, so...
yeah, it was either a scrim or a King of the Hill match within the last 3 or 4 weeks. I remember seeing it used. And I remember commenting that the person playing it had a broken bear in the good way because they got first hit roots constantly. So we'll see if Chessie's going to have the power of bear or not. But just taking a look at the laning situation here, so they're going to be going up against either a Pharaoh or a Kraken. Both of those lineups, so they should really be in a pretty good position against either of those heroes. Of course, depending on how much stacked regen ends up going on up there. And it looks like he will be going up against Keizu, who's bringing 300, Matt's hard, 300 gold worth of regen into the lane. So might be able to contest a little bit up here, but certainly going to be interesting. And he'll always have to be careful about Ophelia coming up. Ophelia, always a threatening individual. Once she gets a Skeleton King or a Minotaur, can easily set up for a kill against his Pharaoh.
Yeah. You see Ward of Sight goes down for the top rune area, so he's not going to be blocking camps here. Just simply wants that good vision overall. And he will get that. Now, is Ophelia maybe going to pick up on that possibly was placed there? Maybe she's also thinking that, of course, one of her camps might have been blocked. Might just wait for the 30-second mark to confirm that. But we'll keep an eye to see what Manasa Ophelia decides to go with here with those 2 rev wards that she does have. So, again, she is actually very prepared. Making sure to counter ward, which in the end didn't really need to do in the end. So you can almost say a couple of resources, 200 gold worth of resources almost wasted there to an extent. But hey, it's understandable as to why I may have thought that would have been the case. Your middle matchup, of course, definitely favorable for Stay Green. I mean, Kraken by all means can definitely hold his ground. In fact, he's going to say, hey, Glacius, what's up? Start putting in auto attacks, but in the end, Gauntlet's going to have a free farm early. But again, it's similar as we saw in that game 2, the Wild Soul. In this case, used to be a War Beast, but the Wild Soul versus the Puppet Master here. Gonna pull the creep wave, gonna do his thing, and gonna try to take lane control. But at least Flensmeister is doing a good job of taking the creep waves into the jungle. But that's not where the problem was for Sync Esports. Puppet Master did have a solid start. He actually was doing pretty good in that game too. It was just elsewhere that just completely snowballed. in favor of Stay Green, starting with the Ophelia and her presence. Her gank presence, really. So, give it a couple minutes here. We'll see where the game's at then to really determine what kind of pace we're going to have here. But it's safe to say Seek Esports wants to make sure to not let that happen again here in game number 4. So, maybe that's where Slapped here on Parasite could also step in and have a bigger impact. I will say, if I remember correctly, to that game, too, they didn't have a jungler themselves. I think they did run the dual support that game as well. So
yeah, it was Riftwalker, Master of Arms.
That's what it was, yeah. So they do have a Parasite here. They do have our own jungle presence. So that is good, too.
Yep, that's certainly going to help try to put some more pressure onto these lanes. But Wild Soul is not really a hero that's going to be too afraid of this Parasite in most circumstances, especially if he's able to get a ward down off to the left side of the lane by 3 or 4 minutes, something like that. That could be very big. But now Wild Soul is actually venturing into the jungle to try to steal a little bit of the experience from the pull, but support doing a good job of not only hitting the last hits here, but also forcing the bear out of lane. And this is, of course, already one bear that has been respawned on the other side. Puppet Master having to kite the creeps around himself. He's going to run out of regen here in just a second, as he's been having to really walk the creeps around.
Yeah, and you see this push that's actually going to happen right here. This is going to be interesting to see what kind of last hits he can do. He doesn't have a whiplash yet. He's only has the 1 point in the puppet show, and he's sitting on the other 2 points. So, of course, doing that simply for the point. He wants to get whiplash most likely, but he obviously doesn't want it for the time being to not push the lane back as much as possible. But he's going to do his part right here. He just used that regen as you're talking about, so that was his last regen. And then now we'll see what kind of situation that puts him in here as far as continuing on. But it is funny, again, seeing just the 1 point in the puppet show, and now he would be a level 4. On top of that, but again, it's for the good reason. It's not like he's simply forgetting to level up those abilities by any means. But Gauntlet in the middle lane, having a very, very good time. 22-7 creep farm here for Limp. That's got to be up there to not perfect, but near perfect at least.
Yeah, looking really good for him. Z-Freak did a fantastic job in the middle lane, zoning the Kraken, and is now rotated, pulling a triple stack in the top lane. This is picture-perfect play coming out of Stay Green and their support player. It's going to enable him to get level 4 off of this creep wave. It's going to deny a lot of farm to Pharaoh, who's already having a very difficult time in this top lane, being zoned out pretty heavily by Swindlemelons. And this is really going to be maximizing the resource efficiency from the guys here at Stay Green. So really like this play. And Wild Soul even deciding to move on down toward the Ancients himself. Going to be camping the bottom rune here. And it's going to be a regen as Torture is forced out. Yeah. Double damage Gauntlet in the middle lane. Really using that to bring home some more CS. And they'll pick up an Invis, which could lead into a kill on Kraken if he's not too careful.
Yeah. Trying to go for a lucky root proc right there, but in the end, just boxing out Torture, and what's done is done. Kind of just goes back to the inches as you were talking about. But yeah, Gauntlet, he's going to be close to level 6 here, and that's going to be a really, really scary mark. In fact, he has a double damage rune on him. I don't think he's going to kill by any means on Kraken, but he's going to hook in at least and do some good damage right here, as you would expect. And actually, Mick is kind of holding his ground. Again, he's going to be fine in the end, but definitely figuring he could at least do a little bit of counter damage before having to fall back and use that bottle charge of his. But, oh, look at the top lane. Here we go. Pharaoh needs to be careful, and that he is. KZ knows exactly what's going on. The ward aside, spotting Ophelia coming down, coming over even to set up a gank. And so no gank is going to be successful at least, but this probably will be a top tower push now. So this is, again, where that pace kind of starts here for now for Stay Green of having a good start. So as I was saying, it's check back in about 3 or 4 minutes. We'll see where the game's at. I mean, right now, Stay Green, this is where it starts rolling here. So what will Sync do to kind of stop this? This is going to be big. They have a level 6 Kraken. So this push is probably going to continue, I would think. At the top lane, maybe not, actually. No, Ophelia is going to fall back. Her Minotaur is just about dead. She's level 5 here, so not going to go outright, but
yeah, they'll fall back. Glacius will get a double stack on the pull here, perhaps, or maybe Ophelia will go ahead and stack that one up, but they need to regain lane control up in this top lane and make sure that Pharaoh's not going to be able to recovery farm too much. If they're going to allow him to be this close up to the creep wave, they're going to have to look for a kill. And, well, the Brothers Friedman are definitely in the area, but Glacius is actually just going to be kind of walking around looking for somewhere to place his ward of sight, and it will be providing vision of the middle lane from up on high. So maybe look for the guys from Stay Green to start looking for this tower push in the middle lane pretty soon here. But once again, I mean, Pharaoh's getting a lot of recovery for him up at this top lane. Certainly a lot of experience, which is what he needs the most of right now.
Yeah. You know, I will say, there's the Tango proc, actually. That's what he was going for. Will this be a kill in the end? Chain reactions coming out. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, Z-Freak gets the bloodless kill, actually. As Mickey goes down, he used to release Kraken, but couldn't do enough. You see Parasite's there, but obviously he couldn't do enough either to help prevent the kill. So, but before that all happened, and with the bloodless kill in favor of Stay Green now happening, I was going to say, you know, the biggest difference with Wild Soul and Warbeast is that he's not as nearly much of a team support hero than Warbeast is in terms of those glowing red hands with the battle cry. So obviously that is a major difference, sure, and maybe keeping from having the excelling start that they had last time around, but in the end, it's still a favorable start for Stay Green. You saw right there, Neutral's got the kill, but I can safely assume that was a purpose neutral kill coming out from support right there. I simply want to just get back to base, spent his gold.
Yep.
And now he is. So, but you do see Puppet Master, though, again, not only he's having even a better start than he was in that second game, 375 gold per minute, doing a good job of boxing out Wild Soul right here. So that is coming along for Sync Esports, at least.
Yeah, this short lane has really done their job, limiting Wild Soul to level 2 in lane. He's been able to get to level 4 and should hit level 5 off of some Ancients here pretty soon. But Chessie, an experienced bear player, he knows exactly how to farm these Ancients to maximum efficiency, making sure to kill them outside of the camps, making sure they're respawning constantly. He'll be able to keep on farming to 220, 250 gold per minute with absolutely no problems in the next few minutes. Middle lane, they're going for Kraken once more.
They're going to try for it again. Will this time be a success? Yes, it will. Poison Spray comes out, and as soon as that Poison Spray happens, even at level 2, you just see how powerful it is. Obviously, this movement's slow. It's the same at any level, and doing some work right there on the Kraken. So another kill on him. 2-0 starting out in favor of the Hellborn team, and that means Gauntlet. I was going to say, Portal Key has to be coming up sooner than later here. 1,300 plus gold already saved up. He only has a Steam Boots earlier on. He has a bottle definitely too. Yeah, it's just on the courier currently. So he has a bottle as well. Okay, probably going to see that Portal Key coming up next. This takes me back to Puppet Master, though. I really wonder what kind of build he's going to go for. You know, the obvious route is actually back to the middle lane. A hook coming in right here. They initially went on a Glacius, but Pharaoh got pulled in, and Parasite's not going to be able to finish him, actually. So good play by Limp right there to help save the day. And Wrath of the Pharaoh was even used to go for that kill on the Glacius. So that's a big miss there for Sync Esports. But the build on Flensmeister, is he going to go Whispering Helm still? He is. Okay, so he does go to the side shop. He picks up the Whispering Helm. I was going to say, I mean, could he just maybe go for a straight Shrunken Head here in a game like this? But goes for that. Another hook, though, and Kraken is going to end up falling most likely. Oh, no, the bottle charge is keeping him alive. Will it be enough in the end? Infinite Instability up in 3 seconds. Not even necessary. The Gauntlet Blast does the job.
Yeah, I was going to question Z-Freak's hesitance to use his ultimate right there, but ultimately, Gauntlet was able to clean that one up, gets credit for the kill, and 3 deaths on Mickey. Kraken's a hero that you pick him for a couple of different reasons. You pick him for the Kraken ultimate, his big frontline potential, and his ability to win most any lanes with his skill set. So far, he has been having a terrible time in lane, and that's really going to put him and Sync into a very bad position going forward from here.
Yeah. It is, and you see, again, the lead here, the goal lead now up to about 3,000 for Stay Green, and again, that Portal Key is going to be coming out now for Gauntlet. So, I don't know, what do you think about the Whispering Helm choice here from Flensmeister? Obviously, it's a great farming tool. It is a good fighting tool, too, really. It does provide armor, it provides damage. It's not like a bad choice I'm getting at by any means, but knowing that you're going to be getting pushed on, you already have been to an extent, sooner than later, you still like the idea of going more the farm route here earlier on?
I think that it's definitely going to be an item that does help his farm, but I think it's a battle item as well. When you talk about the damage, you talk about the armor. 5 armor and lifesteal is something that's going to help you be able to anti-push more effectively. It's going to allow you to get further up with a little bit more impunity. It's something that's really just core on Puppet Master. If he were to rush Shroud right now, he'd still be pretty dang squishy. If he takes damage, he's not going to be getting health back from attacking. And it's really just going to be not as effective as getting this early Whispering Helm. Up top, though, they're going to be able to get Chessie. The real question, Breaky, is but at what cost?
It's going to come with a counter kill right there. And actually, Parasite will also fall most likely. Yes, he goes down too. So To answer the question, a 2-for-1 exchange. It's cost him 2 lives to get the 1 kill of the Wild Soul, and not worth it whatsoever. Especially when, it's a Wild Soul. Yeah, he's struggling earlier on. Welcome to Wild Soul. I know it's been a long time since we've seen him, but this happens. He'll struggle earlier on, but eventually gets to the point where he just is so dominant, and they're still setting up for that just nicely. Kraken in the meantime also again initiated on. Yeah, that freeze from Glacius. Clearly, more and more we're seeing why that hero was picked up, as you're even stating. It's just that Ice Imprisonment, a ridiculous ability against a hero like a Kraken for that obvious reason of can't get away when that's on him. So this is where, again, that momentum really starts to pick up now for Stay Green. He'll even Wild Soul joining the party there, getting Boo Boo spawned and helping to push in that middle tower. So that's now the second tower kill in their favor. And surely enough, it's starting to pull ahead further and further now for Stay Green. So Sync Esports, when will that calming point come for them? Parasite, again, we saw last game. He ended up going the puzzle box earlier on. His farm isn't as good as it was last game, though. So I wonder if that's still going to lead into a puzzle box here, or will he actually just go more the Codex route at this time to deal with this Hellborn team? But at the same time, I could see why Codex might not be your... I don't know. It's a weird spot because they are even a little bit further behind. They got more of a bursty hero in like a Puppet Master with those Whiplash procs and the Voodoo Puppet. Maybe they just want to go for all-out burst damage here and pick off certain heroes, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure either. I think that the puzzle box might still be the better option, but when you're playing from behind, when you're playing without map control for the most part, it's going to be hard to get out onto the map and use that to reestablish map control. If you're pinned up inside of your base, maybe that Codex is just a little bit more effective. Help concentrate with the other bursty heroes and get a for sure kill. Shut down that Ophelia nice and early, perhaps. And looks like Stay Green gonna be able to trade for the tower in the bottom lane, and they're not even gonna have to trade actually. So they had already ported back to the middle lane and started putting a stop to this one. So far, I mean, it's been all Stay Green in this game. Gauntlet's gonna go for a hook, gonna find Puppet Master as well, and they're certainly gonna try to get this kill.
It's gonna be turn kill. The Puppet Master, he's hurting himself right there. However, he will kill Puppet Master. In the end, he does die, but now we got Torture for Slither, and that's easily a battle. Slither is absolutely going to win right there. So that was interesting because the hook from Lip, I think he wasn't even going for Puppet Master. It just happened with the angle. Yeah, it happened to hit Puppet Master. So it even worked out better in that case. And obviously, again, the numbers just in favor of Stay Green right there in the end. So obviously, the Puppet Show can be dangerous in those situations, especially when the Voodoo Puppet's out. But it's still not enough to come on top of the bigger picture. And here we go with Stay Green once again. Wild Soul, he's only level 6, but he's in that ulti form now. We have a Sacrificial Stone being delivered to Slither. So just even more teamfight presence, and that's just going to continue. Ophelia, the Astrolabe against Sorcery, of course. Already had her iconic start here. And this bottom tower, it's going to fall. Will it maybe be denied? Absolutely not. KZ is not even a risk. Or maybe, actually. There goes the invulnerability. Yeah, it's just not going to be worth it. He's a melee hero, doesn't want to get in range. And in the end, the tower will easily fall. So, again, the lead progressing here for Stay Green. Once again, 6,300 gold. And again, I don't want to make it seem that's the same as Game 2 because it's definitely not anywhere close to the same as Game 2 was in terms of just outright dominating from the beginning. But with the circumstances, the lineup that they have put together, knowing that Wild Soul is still not even remotely anywhere where he can and will be in a game like this, is also just the top there where it's like, okay, this is a very scary spot. I mean, hell, he has 1,700 gold saved up. So Mocker Brilliance is on the way at least. Still a little bit off, but on the way. Assassin Shroud is being worked on by Puppet Master, by the way, too. So, again, that kind of goes back to that logic of clearly they're in the mindset of we just need to burst you down quicker than you guys can win your team fights. I don't know.
Yeah, I think this is really the only direction that he could go with Puppet Master. You need to be able to get that initial item for the farming potential, maybe the small amounts of survivability. But you also need to be able to get some kind of damage because this is really going to be the only hero on the Legion team doing any serious amounts of damage over time. Like, the other heroes are going to be able to get their spells off once and then die probably. Parasite might be able to survive if he ends up going something like a puzzle box. But, nope, he does end up going to Codex here. So disassembles and then picks up Striders. So he's really going to be going for the one-and-done burst type damage as he'll most likely die once he does go in. And this is just going to be exceedingly difficult for Sync to actually pull out some team fights here. The one thing that they have going for them is that they do have significant levels as a result of farming multiple locations.
Yeah.
As Stay Green has fallen behind. You don't have like level 11 on Ophelia yet. Your bear is still level 7, but of course those levels are going to come as he starts to farm faster and faster in the coming minutes. So, I mean, it's possible that if Stay Green does get a little bit cocky and takes not the perfect engagement here pretty soon, that Sync might have a chance to really turn this one around and gain the momentum they need.
Yeah, again, that's why I do want to keep away from the doomsday idea that I may have been portraying again. Because you just think about Game 2 happen and leading into this game with the Ophelia pick and everything is setting up, and it's worked out nicely so far for Stay Green. But you are right. I mean, if Sync Esports can find an opportunity to get 1 or 2 hero picks in awkward situations, then before you know it, Puppet Master will be farmed. I mean, yes, he has the Assassin Shroud now, so still a little bit squishy in that presence, but we're more than likely going to see that Shortcut Head follow-up now. And if he can especially get that here, he has those trio of items where he is hitting pretty damn hard, he's farming very well, and he can survive in these fights and whatnot. Again, the Codex idea with Parasite, that quick burst, no doubt makes sense here for them. So, and then you got Kraken, a portal key could very likely be coming for him in the very near future. But yeah, look at Puppet Master. Uh-oh.
Yeah, he's in trouble right now. Gauntlet does have the portal key with the ultimate. Gonna hook him back down into the Ophelia minions. Doesn't even need the help from the minions. Flens is probably saying, hey, team, that's warded.
Yeah, I think we want to counter ward that, but a little too late, unfortunately. Yeah, I obviously had a good time with that one because got hooked basically not only in the minion, but it's everyone. I mean, Stay Green the execution was perfect right there. They just sent him right into their whole team, and she was like, well, yeah, I'm dead. No chance. And they steal the Ancients on top of that, so that's just a double whammy right there in favor of Stay Green. And here we go again. Now this is that middle push coming out here. So Puppet Master, of course, will be back up in about 10 seconds. We are still earlier on in the game, so not the longest resurrections, of course, but look at Swinamel's too. Gnome's Wisdom even picked up. In fact, Kraken's going to be gone right here. They can't get the freeze off in time, so he will actually be able to charge away right there. But still making him feel a little bit of presence. Will they continue? Maybe not, actually. They might just spread out from here and steal the resources, if anything. So, again, Stay Green knows that they are in control of this game right now. And at the point, too, of, again, just buy more time for Wild Soul. And now, as I say that, look at Puppet Master. Here we go. He's going to go for the burst damage. Will it be enough? He is in ulti form. He gets the Ophelia's touch. It is enough. The Whiplash comes out, and all of a sudden, Wild Soul dies. So, good gank coming out for Flensmeister, actually. Not only stalls Wild Soul's farm from the Mock of Brilliance, but he increases his upwards of nearly 400 gold per minute now. So that was actually a very necessary kill, even.
Yeah, Chessie has really been struggling a little bit more than I expected him to in this game. Comes down to a lot of strong play early on from Flensmeister and support zoning him, but just he's not really comfortable going off on his own and farming right now. 45 creep kills in the 19-minute long game. He's definitely been a little bit afraid, but at the same time, as you'd mentioned, the Monk of Brilliance is coming along pretty nicely, and he's set to have that by probably the 25-minute mark or so, depending on any future deaths or tower kills. But I'm definitely a little bit surprised with where his farm is at right now.
I think it honestly goes back, we're making this point. We haven't seen this hero in a while. Now, he used to be God tier. He used to be the #1 picked hero, always banned, if not first picked. That's died off. It's not because he got significant changes in balance by any means. I don't even think really anything really happened, maybe just very slightly. It's just the meta. It's just where things are at with strategies, more aggressive play, as we even saw right there. I mean, we're getting more aggressive carries. We're getting more aggressive lineups around the portal keys and, jumping around and setting up ganks easier. And that's where he is vulnerable, no doubt. I mean, yes, he is tanky in that ulti form, but he needs a good amount of time to build up before he gets to, obviously, that scary mark. So yeah. I think it has a bit to do with that as well on top of it. But yeah, at the same time, it is also Wild Soul, and it wasn't unheard of to have him have not the best start, and then again eventually just take over the game. So he by all means still has that pace still working for him at this point. But here we go with the middle push. Stay Green's going to push it in. A portal key just picked up by Parasite. Again, just that idea of we need to be able to jump them, we need to get that quick burst and work off of that.
Yeah, the key to these fights is killing the Ophelia. You kill the Ophelia before they're able to make use of her Astrolabe, before they're able to make use of her ultimate, and you can almost secure the team fight. So if Parasite's able to get that job done really, really quickly, then they have a good chance in these team fights. Same thing if they're able to get the Gauntlet before he's able to initiate properly. That could be another big thing is Puppet Master is choosing not to use the Shroud down here. And that was really awkward, to be honest. If they had still had the Bound Eye on Gauntlet instead of Glacius, that was a dead Puppet Master. And I don't really get why Flens wasn't just running further. Maybe he was looking to try to get a kill. And while they're trying to get a kill onto Slither, he's being sent home by Ophelia, though.
Yeah, okay, yeah, he's going to be fine. That was actually close. If they got some burst damage right there, he might have actually got killed before the port. But nope, he does get it off, and obviously it's going to be fine. So, yeah, I mean, awkward situations definitely, but Puppet Master does live, and they're able to. No, they're not going to do the Ancients. They want to definitely try to maybe save those for Puppet, if anything. But Puppet's still back to the bottom lane, so he's by himself. Not sure what Flensmeister is really trying to do here, to be honest. I feel like he's wasting a lot of time. And what was double stacked Ancient, what is still stacked Ancients over there, they're going to triple stack it here, it looks like. You know, the jungle even has a couple of camps to work with. So, yeah, Flensmeister was kind of curious what was going on at the bottom lane. In the end, though, will fall back to the jungle once again and continue to pick up farm there. So, you know, another thing to remember here throughout the song we're talking and everything. Slither still has a token of life, by the way. He still has it for 50 more seconds. So probably not going to be able to use it here in terms of resurrecting with it, because it'll probably just wear off here for the time being. Just get that last creep kill, and yeah, just going to fall back in the end. So maybe just wait for another Conquer kill. This is yet again a very good Conquer killing team here on the Hellborn side. So wouldn't be surprised. Look at the golds. I was going to say, he has enough now, and there you go. Right-clicks the Mock of Brilliance. And again, this pace, Stay Green, sure, they got a lot of team push early on, team fight presence. They don't need to win with that. They're just fine with this game being more of a farm game and sit back and let it last on, specifically because of Wild Soul, of course. So, again, the pace is just all around just very good for Stay Green at this point here. But I mean, that kind of goes back to Sync Esports as well. I mean, you can tell that they've been trying to play a little more aggressive here, but only having 3 hero kills is not a number that you want to have here for Sync Esports. At 23 minutes into the game, bottom lane. Torture is going to be found here by Ophelia and Glacius actually, and she will be picked off. So a find for Stay Green that they take advantage of. But yeah, Wild Soul with the Mocker Brilliance. He's even going to steal the Ancients with Slither over here. Yet again, Stay Green just controlling like they do. And Pharaoh. He's going to run into a death trap. Are we going to see the Entangle come out? He's not even trying to entangle. He's just blocking with the boo-boo right there. And the grapple comes in. And down goes Pharaoh. It's 1 by 1, man. 1 by 1.
Yeah, certainly not somewhere that KZoo wanted to be. He gets picked off, but at least Kraken and Parasite are able to take a tower up top, but they're going to have to TP back here pretty soon, because allowing Stay Green to take the high ground at the base tower is certainly not something they want to have to deal with. And you'll see this tower drops pretty quick to heroes like Gauntlet with the double damage and a Bear. Buyback on KZoo is going to be necessary if they want to defend these racks.
Soulsborg set the defensive currently. I want to say that's definitely he's not realizing that, because there's no reason to have a defensive here on Gauntlet. So these buildings could even be dropping faster if he had an offensive, but in the end, it doesn't really matter.
I actually prefer having it set to defensive right there. As you said, they don't really need the extra damage. They're going to be, that would really, like, that would maybe take 3 or 4 seconds off them killing those racks right there.
True.
They still have plenty of time to do it, whereas that extra 4 armor is something that's going to be helping a ton against the burst damage from Puppet Master, against the impalement coming out. In these team fights, that extra armor might have been the difference between a hero living and dying.
That's true. No, that's actually a very valid point. So, you know, in the end, maybe Limp is just on another level than I was even thinking. As you're getting at their big initiation. That is a huge jump right there. He got some good numbers. Will they be able to follow this up the bat? Ophelia's getting burst out. She will be killed off the bat. She did get her Ophelia's touch off, though. Puppet Master is picked off in the background. Grapple going to completely whiff right there. Will it matter, though? Probably not. Down goes Kraken. Down goes Pharaoh. Double tap coming out for both Swinamelons and Jesse, and that is going to do it. GG, well played. Stay Green. They are going to remain your title holders here for King of the Hill. So 3 wins in weeks in a row. They are going to remain your King of the Hill champion. So, you know, first off, definitely congratulations to them for holding the title here. But second off, address Ophelia, man. I hope, if anything, Sync Esports especially It's like, okay, again, I understand that there's not the most on the line here. And maybe, if anything, they were trying to see what could work against these Ophelia kind of lineups. But it wasn't working. Clearly, I think it's the easiest way to put it. It wasn't working. So I think we're going to see Ophelia banned nearly every game at the World Finals. We'll see, though.
I certainly think that's something to consider, as Sync might have had the rude awakening. I mean, this is a team that's intimate with how strong Ophelia is. Lapt is a prolific Ophelia player. I don't understand why they've decided today of all days, hey, let's stop what we've been doing for 3 months and just let everybody have Ophelia. And Ophelia, once again, 100% win rate. Here, I think she had something like a 75% win rate going through the Han Tour playoffs, also like an 80% ban rate going through the playoffs. Like, I don't know. It's certainly interesting. Maybe they're trying to figure out if they can come up with some kind of strategy to address Ophelia that has a winning record against the Ophelia. Certainly not finding that here in these 4 games. But well played overall by SG. Sync, they're going to have to try again, like a month from now, because they won't be King of the Hill for 2 weeks, and then they won't be able to play in one of them. And, yeah, so like a month from now, they'll have their next opportunity to challenge the throne.
Yeah, we'll see.